With the recent episode of Helluva Boss Ghost Effers, we now have the backstory for how Blitz met all of the main characters in his life. So let's talk about Blitz's history, how he lost his family, and how he managed to create a new one. Blitz, of course, was born into the family of Cash, Buxo, and Tilla. Cash ran a circus where he employed his family, but also other imps. While some of the imps may still be distant relatives, some of them were no relation at all, it would seem, such as Fizzarolli. As a young adult, however, Blitz would end up accidentally causing the fire that burned down his family's circus. This led to the death of his mother, his sister trying to stay away from him, and his already distant father pushing Blitz out of his and Fizzarolli's life. Following all of this, Blitz suddenly had a small work family with Loona, Millie, and Moxxie, with Stolas as a love interest at the start of the show. While Season 1 kept the story of how Blitz met everyone a mystery, Season 2 began with the story of how Blitz met Stolas, and would go on to show the origins of all the characters, and with each one we get a little insight into how Blitz tried to build something of a new family through them. In Season 2, Episode 1, we got to see flashbacks of Blitz and Stolas' childhood, including how they met on Stolas' birthday, where we see him going to Blitz's family circus. This makes Stolas the only person in this new family that Blitz knew before the circus accident, and really before becoming an adult as a whole. But of course, it was just a one-off meeting, and Blitz didn't think too much of it until he needed the grimoire much later. Stolas was also someone who more so had to force his way into the life of Blitz, with the real beginning of Blitz trying to create his own family being with the adoption of Loona, which we got a glimpse of in Season 2, Episode 2. In this episode, Blitz has a flashback to how he met Loona at the Hellhound Pound, and had something of a trauma response to seeing her there. When he first shows up, he seems to be very casual, saying he wants a hellhound that is family friendly, seemingly for the business that he's about to begin. When he says this, he gives the impression that what he wants is an employee, basically. Someone he can pay very little that will give him the image that he's a family man when he's not. However, when he sees Loona, his intentions become very sincere. The pound looked like a horrible place, and I mean, it's literally just a prison. Loona's being kept in a cell, and there's clearly danger from the other hellhounds who are not taught how to properly behave here. Loona was close to aging out of the system, but Blitz had a traumatic reaction to seeing how hurt she looked there. Blitz had just lost his mother, which he blames himself for, but also the rest of his family, who all seemed to abandon him. He likely saw a lot of himself in Loona, and it wasn't just a fleeting thing. This flashback in Season 2 only came about because Blitz was acting out the story of having to give a dog away on a human sitcom set, which made him think about having to give Loona away, or rather, back to the pound where she was miserable. Blitz clearly cares about Loona more than even she realizes, and in that episode, we see that she does know that he cares and that she cares too. Taking care of Loona started as something he wanted to do for her, but it led Blitz to having enough comfort to have people in his life who are close to him, though he still tries to keep them at arm's length, I would say. Blitz likes to show an overabundance of love, unless that other person shows love back, in which case Blitz acts disinterested. With Loona, he tries to be an over-doting father, on one level wanting to show that he does care, but on another knowing that it bugs Loona. In doing so, I think Blitz believes he can keep the people he loves safe, stopping them from meeting a dark fate because of him, like his mother or sister or everyone else he had known up to the night of that accident. With Moxxie and Millie, this gets into the sexual, making Moxxie in particular feel put off by Blitz. And since Stolas actually likes Blitz, he can't use this tactic against him, and has to appear disinterested instead in order to push him away. In Episode 3 of Season 2, we got Moxxie's origin story as well as how he met Blitz, making this 3 origin stories in 3 episodes in a row at the beginning of Season 2, though Millie's wouldn't come until much later in the season. Moxxie's story was that he worked for his father in the Greed Ring Mafia, where he was given the job to rob a bank with his boyfriend Chaz. After getting abandoned by Chaz at the bank, Moxxie was arrested, and it's in prison where he meets Blitz. Who the hell knows what Blitz was arrested for, but when he started to explain how he needed help escaping so that he could get back to his daughter, Moxxie felt safe. He had just been abandoned by Chaz, and Chaz was something of a life raft in the ocean that was Crimson's twisted fatherhood. Crimson had apparently killed Moxxie's mother, and before Moxxie realized that, he had thought his mother just abandoned him. Despite eventually knowing that his mother didn't abandon him, the trauma never actually left Moxxie, and Blitz's desire to escape prison to be with his daughter made Moxxie feel like Blitz was the kind of parent that he wished he had. It's because of this that I think Blitz started not just being overtly flirty with Moxxie, but also rather demeaning. Moxxie was beginning to look up to Blitz, and to prevent Moxxie from getting too close to him, Blitz would do his best to make Moxxie feel like Blitz didn't care that much for him. Now at this point, you're probably noticing that Blitz starts these relationships because he needs something from the other person, and then when he begins to care about them or they begin to care about him, he starts to push them away. With Moxxie, he very specifically needed someone to help him escape the prison, and while I do think Blitz really began to care about Moxxie after that, he also feared that meant Moxxie would get hurt by him. So he began to make Moxxie feel like the only thing he was good for is how he can help Blitz. Moxxie had essentially imagined himself as Blitz's son in their first interaction, wanting to help a father get back to their child because of his own issues with abandonment. And interesting, Blitz seemed to also cast Moxxie as his son, in that he treated Moxxie the way Blitz's father treated him. He made Moxxie feel like his only use to Blitz comes with the very few skills that he brings to the table compared to Millie. The same way that Cash Buxo seemed to only be nice to Blitz when there was something he could get from him, such as getting him to rob the Goetia. Finally, in the most recent episode Ghost Effers, we got the story of Millie, who Blitz was impressed with and approached to hire. At the end of the day, Millie was a strong competitor for Blitz's job, so he figured he could just hire her and absorb the competition into his own team. With Millie, I think Blitz managed to find the most interesting balance, as he does try to push her away, and she does seem to want him to stop invading her personal space, but she also put up with it and his other shenanigans because she was grateful to him. If Millie knew that what Blitz wanted was for her to be more distant so that she would be safe from him, she might just oblige out of respect. But because she thought it was genuine, even if unwanted, she decided to put up with it for his sake and focus on the good that he brought to her life. By the time that Millie got there, the little family of the I.M.P gang was finally beginning to form, with her getting there and meeting her husband because of Blitz, who had helped him set up the new business. In the end, Blitz only hired Millie because he needed something from her as well, but like with the others, this led to her being an important part of his life that he now doesn't want to let go of, a makeshift family to replace the one he lost because of his own failures, and which he fears he might lose again based on the conversation with Millie in Ghost Effers. Stolas himself is just another person that is in Blitz's life because Blitz needed something from him, with him only returning to Stolas in an attempt to steal his grimoire. It is an unfortunate pattern that Blitz has made, not because it's wrong to become close to people that you met through these means, but because he doesn't seem to have anyone in his life that wasn't there because he needed something. While he may show more overt affection to Loona and Millie, but when it comes to Moxxie and Stolas, he treats them both like the only reason they are in his life is because he is useful to them, instead of just being someone that he genuinely cares about. And even if that isn't true, it says a lot about the person that Blitz became. While it's a bit of a messed up pattern, the truth is, in this case at least, that Blitz is afraid to get close to people because he's worried he's going to ruin their lives, or even end their lives. And the best he seems to be able to do is emulate his father, treating the women in his life with too much affection and treating the men like Moxxie and Stolas as if they can only be in his life if they are useful to him. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts on Blitz and his coping mechanisms in the comments down below, and don't forget to let me know your coping mechanisms so we can use them against you. See you guys next time.